Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, our world today is dreary and full of peril, and we need some lightheartedness. And what better way to get some of that than to mock the humorless shenanigans of our political rivals? Now, there is a common trope in the modern world that the left can't meme. I would like to challenge that statement and say, not true, they can, just not for their own cause. But they can make memes for the right, or at least generate material that will be used to make memes by the right. A task of great toil and much hardship that ends in gems such as these. Last night I was perusing Twitter, as you do, and came across this rare treat. Look at this. This is brilliant. I even said to the fellow who posted this, I said, I'm confused. Is this supposed to be an insult? Because it's fantastic. Look at this. Born of Reagan, who coined the term welfare queen. Wrong. Incorrect. It was in fact the Chicago Tribune in the early 1970s that came up with the phrase. It caught wind in its sails after it was used by then Governor Reagan, and the phrase is based on a real person. She went by the name Linda Taylor, who was defrauding the government by around $150,000 a year, which would amount to well over $1 million by today's count, gave a states' rights speech in Mississippi to the KKK and Wallace-minded Republicans. And it was perfectly in keeping with Reagan as far as states' rights go, and the Wallace-minded Republicans, terribly sneaky, rather disingenuous way of saying racist Democrats, returned 4 years to proclaim the South will rise again. Yes, it will, as the coast and North crumble under the weight of big government and seemingly endless corruption as people flee them for red states like Texas and California. Phrase seems oddly prophetic now, doesn't it? Lied us into the Iraq war with the aid of Fox, yes, and now the left is lying us into a war with Russia. Now, I don't wish to harp on too much between the distinction of the left and the right as far as the political apparatus goes. At the end of the day, it's nothing but an entity, masquerading as the illusion of choice. Meanwhile, the state has its own interests, which involves buggering the citizens for their own ill-gotten ends, feeding the crazy for political gain. Someone tell me, is there a higher tier than pot calling kettle black? Because you have got to be fucking kidding me. You lot want to talk about sex to underage children while not being able to identify what a woman is, even as you claim you elevated one onto the Supreme fucking Court, who also can't identify what a woman is. This is the so-called party of science, ladies and gentlemen, who arrogantly claim they can fight off Mother Nature herself and reverse the process of global warming, or else we're all going to die in 12 years. I think I speak for many people when I say, fuck off. The Republicans were all happy to recruit the racist Bertha right-wing extremists. Recruit them? What, was there a drive or something, was there? Do you have any polls, any data to back that up? Or are you just talking out of your ear end, mate? Right-wing extremists. Name one. Where? And what exactly makes them extreme, aside from opposing your communist ideology? At the thought of a black man in the White House, I don't know how saying I don't think he's born on U.S. soil makes one racist exactly, seeing as it's not a question of race, rather one of nationality. Name certainly doesn't help either. If you found a competent person of color that espouses conservative pro-American values, people like Clarence Thomas, Larry Elder, or Thomas Sowell, you know what those extremist right-wingers think? They like them. Fancy that. I wonder why. You can really tell the person who created this meme is an indoctrinated drone who's living in a cult. Or maybe it's more than one person, who knows? One to make the art, another to choose the font, another the background, and one more to check the spelling. And they all ask to be paid at least $20 an hour. The reason I say it's a cult is it doesn't seem to dawn on them that people might switch political affiliation due to circumstances that go beyond the cult-like worshipping of Obama or the Democratic Party. Oh, you voted for Obama and then Trump. Why? Well, for one thing, his opposition was a woman. That made the choice a hell of a lot easier. Because what's always tickled me, those who revere and kiss Obama's ass want to kick Trump's for the same reason, just in reverse. Oh, Trump is a mean, bad orange man who says things on Twitter, but Saint Obama is so well-spoken. No, he's not. What he has is good diction, but he's not known for high-end vocabulary or great range. Not that that makes any difference, case in point Michael Eric Dyson. Allow me to explicate that remark. Superfluous use of language is not a guaranteed hallmark of exquisite intellect. That may have been a tad pretentious. Allow me to dumb it down for you. Big words no equal big smarty. Savvy? Couple that with that theatrical posturing thing that he does, where he will say something pause for ages and then glance around as if he said something incredibly profound, as if he is some kind of godlike messiah who's descended down from the heavens. His whole demeanor reeks of arrogance. By the way, what the hell has he done that grants him this arrogance, I wonder? What is Obama's legacy? He's black. That's it. You line up pictures of all the other presidents, what makes him stand out? That, and that's all. Try and get his most hardened ass-kissing supporters to name even a single policy that was helpful to the country, and I will bet you they can't even name one. Because it was never about his policy. It was all about his persona, how he presented himself. It was purely about his aesthetic as a figurehead. It was perceived as a great historical moment. Which, if you really think about it, has nothing at all to do with him. He's merely the symbol that represents a certain milestone in the country's history. But it's an arbitrary characteristic of which he has absolutely no control over. If he wasn't black and said the same things, would he have been president? No, Clinton would have been the nominee. So yes, his legacy is that he was a black man who was once elected. Oh, but you can't criticize him because that's racist. If you can't be compared to others who also held the same position without hurling the word racist, it just means you are not good enough to be judged by a standard you failed to live up to. That is not a worthy legacy, that's fucking pathetic. Contrast that with Trump, my god, the difference is night and fucking day. No prior political experience, memed his way into office for the oldest president at the time. That's actually pretty impressive. The first US president to set foot in North Korea, peace treaties in the Middle East, clipped the Iranian general, knocked out ISIS, all the while starting no new wars. Booming economy, first real wage growth since the 1980s, lowest minority unemployment ever, a secure southern border, securing energy independence whilst lowering the CO2 output, all the while fending off the machine and exposing the enormity of the state's corruption. That is a fucking legacy. To compare Trump to Obama is insulting. Obama isn't even fit to shine Trump's fucking shoes. Been 8 years obstructing America's business. I don't know what that's a reference to, and I'll skip this Christo-fascist nationalist thing because I'll ramble on it in a moment. And I don't get the last bit either. But I'll finish this off with why I think the left can't meme. For one thing, they're all really, really stupid. And I don't mean that in a sort of derogatory way. I mean it literally. They don't know anything. They exist online in perpetuity, in a sort of digital limbo. They don't know anything outside of this identity politics sphere. They don't talk with anyone else outside of that space, and they're stuck in this sort of, demented feedback loop. They have no clue about the opinions of the silent majority. They're all fed the same digital diet like a conveyor belt, and they're taught to hate this thing. Why? Because they're told to, and it's in no way connected to reality or history. Like this line, Christo-fascist nationalist. Anyone who's ever been in a church would ask, what the hell is this person talking about? They've clearly never been to a church. This is hyperbolic to the point of retardation. And stop calling people fascist. These people want less government, free speech, and guns. You don't get this in a totalitarian regime. Far-right is not marching towards fascism. It's anarchic, you historically illiterate imbecile. And they all look the same. Same dress sense, hairstyle, body type, the hardware is a bit different, but they're all running the same software, the same operating system. And online, they carry those identifying markers with them. It's in the bio, it's the I support the current thing badge. And when you start doing this in mass, this is likely to cause a reaction to dehumanize, because it's code, it's a pattern. This is machine-like behavior, they may as well all be clones. So when they try and meme with this disjointed perception of reality and you aim it at the right, it simply falls flat. They're never going to win a meme war ever, because the right is based in effectiveness and the left is based on ideological utopianism. And most importantly, the left does not ever listen to the right. The left, on the other hand, is everywhere. You don't even need to meme them. You can just take a picture of what they look like. No context is needed and you will still generate a laugh. They have no idea how the right think. Their perception is a caricature. Case in point, during Trump's reign as president, we had the Great God Emperor meme. And now, the left thinks to own the right, they will call Trump the Great MAGA King. Why? Why do you think this would be an insult? How fucking stupid are you? Their incompetence is so bad, it is borderline depressing, I almost pity them. And that's all for today. Until next time.